but I couldn't part my own cash with it, even though I'm very grateful for getting it as a gift. Hey, how's it going? And welcome to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today we've got a 21-year-old Blair Athol from Douglas Laing. It's their Xtra Old Particular series, which is XOP. What I use as my stand is actually the box for this bottle. You open it up, there's a nice little note here about Douglas Laing, which I haven't actually read or anything like that. It comes in a plinth, so a little wooden stand where the bottle can sit on, and I display it that way in the shelf. The wooden stand has in bold letters XOP on the bottom, just like this, and I display that in the shelf, and it's quite a spectacle, if you will, for the shelf. So it's a nice aesthetic looking bottle, very well presented, thick, well constructed wooden box with kind of dovetail joints and all that. So a lot of money's obviously been spent on that. I believe the RRP is about 200, 230. I'm not certain because my girlfriend got me this as a Christmas present, and an amazing Christmas present at that. Something this kind of exquisite. But we'll get down to the whiskey because it's about the whiskey itself and not about how it looks or how it's presented physically. So we'll see what it's like on the nose. Yeah, I feel like this is one of those whiskies you can tell is it's got that kind of feel about it, a bit of character that kind of pronounces itself as exquisite, as luxurious, like a luxurious dram. And I think a lot of that's to do with the heavily sherried aspect. It's a single sherry cask, non-chill filter, no added colouring, 53.3% ABV, and there's only 228 bottles. This is bottle number 47. So I think the sherry gives it this really, this air of luxury. But it's definitely dark chocolate. There's cigar leaf, sultanas and raisins, obviously, with the sherry. There's a slight kind of tang to it, nothing too distinguishable yet. But it's also got this kind of creamy element to it, like thick. It's quite a thick dram. I'm trying to think what that could relate to. There's maybe something like to go along with that creamy element, some coconut or something. But yeah, it's a really nice dram in the nose. As I said, it's quite a kind of luxurious dram. I feel it's one of those. Maybe it's because of the aesthetics, because of the look, how it's presented. That's maybe partly to do with it, but I think a lot of it relies on the sherry. And it seems like the sherry's imparted quite a lot of flavour. I feel like there's not a lot of Blair Athol coming through, which isn't a bad thing on the nose. It might come through in the palate, so we'll get into the palate, see what the palate's got to offer. Like I said, 53.3%. I actually don't think it needs the water. I've had this I've had quite a lot of it, and I was waiting for a point to decide whether I wanted to review it or not. So we'll get down to the palate. Lovely. Yeah, there's a lot more wood there in the palate now. Whereas on the nose I couldn't really pick up any wood. I think it's obviously taken a lot of the sherry and of the wood. But in the palate it's creamy again. There's probably something like raspberry, maybe not as tart as raspberry, maybe something softer. Some sort of red fruit and like I was going to say raspberry ripple, but it's not as, I don't feel as tart as raspberry. It's a little more subtle, but it's still creamy in the palate, like really creamy. There's maybe some banana, those foam bananas you get, those sweet bananas that are shaped like bananas but aren't actually bananas, a little sweeties. There's definitely more chocolate. I was thinking like something like chocolate raisins to tie in with the sherry. There's a little bit of, and I feel like I get this a lot in Blair Athol, and maybe I'm just expecting it now when I drink Blair Athol, but potato, but this time it's like mashed potato. It's so weird, like creamy mashed potato. Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, creamied mashed potato. Mm. Mm, mm. It's a little bitter from that oak, but not off-putting at all. Maybe tied in with the nose, it's possibly coming from this dark chocolate element. Yeah, something syrupy that reminds me of like cola, but I don't think it's like a bottled cola or a canned cola. It's more like when you go to a fast food restaurant or chain or somewhere like that, and you get those dispensaries where you put the cup in and you fill up on whatever fizzy drink you want, whether it be cola, Fanta, Sprite. They've got millions of flavours, and I think it's as if the syrup, the cola syrup, hasn't mixed well with the carbonated water or whatever it mixes with, and you're getting more of a raw syrup rather than like cola. So it's like a really I've went a long way of saying it's a really powerful cola strength flavour. Probably some nuts there as well. Yeah, like mixed nuts. Like you've got a bag of mixed nuts and raisins. It's basically that for sure, because the sherry's so evident. It's lovely. Like I said, I feel like that makes it quite a luxurious dram, and the sherry really highlights this luxurious element. So the finish is surprisingly medium. It's not as long as I thought it would be with the ABV and with the sherry. Maybe something to do with the age, I don't know. Maybe the type of cask, but it feels a little shorter than I was expecting. It's, once again, I think creamy is quite a strong word for this, and quite a consistent characteristic for this whiskey. Even though it's beaten in the sherry cask, it just carries this creamy flavour and creamy taste throughout, and in the finish there's definitely this creamy element. I would want to say something like chocolate chip cookie, and like, or maybe raisins as well, like an oatmeal raisin, or like an oatmeal raisin and chocolate chip cookie. Quite sweet, but also quite oaty, quite, yeah, cereal, barley, that kind of flavour. So yeah, like a chocolate chip oatmeal raisin cookie, if they are a thing. I know you get oatmeal raisins and chocolate chip cookies separate, but I don't know if you get them amalgamated. So something like that, and maybe a wee bit more wood, just generic, generic at the end. Something there. It's a really nice whiskey. I'm enjoying it. 100% enjoying it. I'm really am enjoying it. It's not necessarily the typical Blair Athol that I would go for, as it's heavily sherried, but it is a fantastic whiskey. So we'll get down to the rating, and if you're new here, how I rate my whiskies is on 3 factors, and that's: would I buy it again, do I recommend it, and is it worth the price tag? So would I buy it again? Well, I didn't buy it in the first place, and I couldn't say I would buy it again, because there's other Blair Athol out there, and I'd like to explore other Blair Athol, even though I'm actually trying to stay away from Blair Athol at the moment, as I'm overburdened with how much Blair Athol I've got. That's a good problem to have. So yeah, I wouldn't buy it again, not to say that it's not good or worth buying. And is it worth it? It's a difficult one, the price, because it's probably worth the complicated packaging, the fantastic box, the plinth, the glass. They've made it worth it, or they've tried to justify that cost, but it's not really worth it in the sense of what you're experiencing. It's a lovely whiskey, don't get me wrong. It's actually an extraordinary whiskey, and I really do like it, but I couldn't part my own cash with it, even though I'm very grateful for getting it as a gift. But it's a lot of money for what it is, because you can get other Blair Athol for cheaper, but it's a fantastic display piece, a fantastic whiskey, no doubt about it. So that's what makes my ratings a little hypocritical at times, because I would recommend it, and I think you should try it. And technically 1 out of 3 makes it a whiskey bin. Usually if you get 2 out of 3 it's a whiskey win, 1 out of 3 is a whiskey bin. But this is a whiskey bin. I don't really want to say it's a whiskey bin because it's a gift, because my girlfriend gifted me it, and I am enjoying it so much, and it's one that I can easily reach for at any time because it's very tasty. But it's a lot of money for what it actually is, a 21-year-old Blair Athol. Blair Athol is a cheap whiskey in general to get. So we're going to flip the coin and see what it actually is. Oh, that's lucky. So it landed on Whisky Win. I'm going to use that as my saving grace if Louise watches this video. So it is a Whiskey Win by chance, but by my own rating it should be a whiskey bin. Like I said, I am enjoying it and do love it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I've been Whiskey Whims. No, I've been Stuart. Why do I keep doing this? I've been Stuart, this has been Whiskey Whims. I'll see you later.